right, I finally got laid. Because I ain't fucking said nothing yet. Cheer up. Sorry. I'm an addict. My name is Marty. If I say anything that offends you, I apologize. I might not be as perfect as you. Have any drug addicts here tonight? Alcoholic addicts? Cross-addicted? Chemically dependent? Dual-addicted? Poly-addicted? I'd like to share something with you. It's a good thing I'm here. I can help you. For all you drug addicts and alcoholic addicts and chemically dependent, dual diagnosis and all that crap, I'd like to read something to you out of the basic text of Narcotics Anonymous. So if you get mad when I'm done, get mad at the book. I didn't say it, I just read it. That's not a cue card, darling. That's my sex life. There's been over 1 million of these sold and under 300 read, and you just proved it. That's why I'll read to you. The 12 steps of Narcotics Anonymous, as adapted from AA, are the basis of our recovery program. Look, we'll get you a dance with him after the meeting, okay? Okay. No, I'm just kidding. We have only broadened their perspective. We follow the same path with a single exception. Our identification as addicts is all-inclusive with respect to any mood-changing, mind-altering substance. Alcoholism is too limited of a term for us. Our problem is not a specific substance. It is a disease called addiction. We do believe that as a fellowship, we have been guided by a greater consciousness and are grateful. Truly grateful for the direction that has enabled us to build upon a proven program of recovery. All my life, I thought I was many things because people told me that I was. All my life, I thought my problem was drugs because people told me to stop doing them. Why don't you quit doing drugs? Okay, just say no. I was unfortunate, like some of you may not have been unfortunate. Nancy Reagan wasn't around at the end of my using. And I can imagine an addict standing on the corner waiting on the dope man, having a major bowel movement, sweating. The dope man's late, but he heard Nancy Reagan. About an hour later, the dope man shows up. Well, I'm sorry, a little late, but I got your shit, you know. Oh, no thanks, none for me. Talk to Nancy. Asking an addict to just say no is like asking a manic depressant to just cheer up. I would like to thank the committee for asking me to speak in spite of things they've heard about me, all of which I can tell you are true. And if there's not a rumor going on about me, I'll start one. I really don't care. I didn't come to Narcotics Anonymous to worry about what you thought of me. I came to make some changes. I haven't made them all yet, that's all. When I do, you'll probably read about it. It'll be in the obituary section. That's when I'll be done. What got me here? I was walking down the street one day smoking a joint. Seed popped. Scared the hell out of me. Rushed down to Narcotics Anonymous and have been here ever since, and it works. And I wish it was that easy. I got here because I was married to a German shepherd in Petersburg, Virginia, that couldn't talk. I got here because a woman on a passing bus looked at me funny. I got here because my clothes didn't fit. I had blonde hair. My father was a drunk. My mother was a bitch. My brothers picked on me. I masturbated and got caught. All those things. Not one of them, all of them. People ask me, well, why did you use drugs? Well, let me think. I was an addict. Why did you stop? He quit working. If it still worked, I wouldn't be here tonight. I'd be in jail. I spoke at a meeting a few weeks ago on the Eastern Shore of Maryland, and a guy said, wow, 21 years clean, man, that's awesome. I said, it really ain't no big deal. If I would have known I was going to live this long, I would have never quit. I thought this shit was killing me. That's all. I went to my first meeting of Narcotics Anonymous on the first, and then I went somewhere else. On the 1st of January, 1973, in the Unity Church in Dallas, Texas. There were 4 meetings in the room. There were 4 meetings all at one time. That's right, because we had our own opinion. There were 4 addicts in the room. I don't think anybody was clean. And it was a meeting about sex. Because everybody was telling each other to go screw themselves. So I found another fellowship, one that would love me for what I drank. And they had some large literature for me to read. When I was 3 months clean, I moved to Virginia Beach, Virginia. And I met y'all's gurus that you have here, Tom and Tom. And all the birds. And I got enlightened with light treatment. It's true. You hurt there, put light on it. Met Edgar Casey, do a leftover acid trip. These guys back then were not as sick as me. And they have grown more than I have too. When I came up here today, I was standing over in the donation section for the coffee, for those of you who didn't donate, so you know what that basket's for. And Bob said, have you met Tom? And I looked over at him and I thought, damn. You're kidding, right? I haven't seen Tom in almost 21 years. Then a little while later, I'm walking through the other side where you get your recovery through the television TV set there. So you don't interrupt anybody while the meetings are going on. And I seen my other friend, Tom. And I looked at him and I recognized him right away after almost 21 years. And to see these 2 guys here was just put chicken skin all over me. And it took me back. And both of them shared some of my inventory with me from 21 years ago. They remembered it better than I did. tight little group they had. And then, it was nice. Really, really nice. And to see you guys here and see y'all clean and Larry and, it just, I don't know, it's really, really special. I've never been to Hawaii. God must love you a lot. We got here and I was just going to come by myself, and then I had some friends from Florida that wanted to come, and my wife was in school and she didn't know if she would have spring break, and she didn't know if she could come, and then all of a sudden all of us are coming, and then all of a sudden I would like for you, if you haven't seen one living here, I am what you call a tourist. We have booked deals on everything there is to do. And we have seen the bottom of the ocean, fish, sand, rain, clouds. When the morning I left Baltimore, I turned on the TV and was watching the news. Murder, rape, robbery, rape, murder, robbery, rape, murder, murder, rape, robbery. That was in the last 15 minutes. And that's how rough it is there. And I got here and I was listening to your news, and when they came to the rough stuff, about the clouds coming in. So I sure hope nobody uses it to gathering over this, It's got to be a terrible, depressing thing. We booked a ride on the trolley car for all day so we could see the whole city. And my friends, my spiritual advisors that we brought with us, we couldn't find the trolley. We kept looking and running from street to street trying to get a trolley and couldn't get the trolley, and finally we seen it coming, and Bob screams out, "Stop, stop!" And the girl says, "Over there!" He said, "Over where?" "Over there!" And then he taught her how to cuss like you're from Miami. And God paid him back for that. We went and laid on the beach the next afternoon, and a pigeon shit on his wife. It's been very exciting. Now, more about recovery. I got high because it made me feel like I thought everybody else felt all the time. That's the only reason I know I got high. I wanted to feel like I thought you felt. And after I felt like you felt, I really didn't give a damn how you felt anymore. That's the bottom line. I didn't care about you, your dog, your mama. I didn't care about nothing. All I cared about was getting high. All I cared about was having your black hair. The first drug I ever did was alcohol. I know, some people don't believe it. Alcohol's a drug. That's why they're alcoholics and addicts. It's like having two diseases in one. It smelled bad, it tasted bad, it made me puke, I messed my pants. People laughed at me, not with me. And one day at a dance, I finally got some down and it stayed down. And I got some more down and it stayed down. And I got a whole pint down and it stayed down. And all of a sudden, pimples started dropping off of my face. Black, wavy hair started coming out of my head. I got almost as big as Tom. And something between my legs grew about that long. And I was willing to share it with anybody or anything. And nobody wanted to participate. I know you've never been through that. That's called rejection. I know rejection well. I rejected anything positive in my life that ever came my way. Anytime anybody tried to help me in any way, I rejected it. I wanted to be a tough guy. Basically, I just wanted to run. Because I knew if I stopped, you were going to get me. When I was 18 years old, I landed in Vietnam. I was a runny-nosed kid trying to find his way in a man's world. I relapsed from January the 1st, 1973 till the 19th of February, 1975. It was the last time I picked up. Also the last time I fell down. Many things happened in my life that I'm not happy about, that I'm not proud of. But for getting me here, I'm truly grateful for. There was a guy in Nam with me named Ole. And Ole and I did many things together. Ole and I got high every day. And every day Ole and I tried to quit. Ole and I did a lot of things to a lot of people, to their property, to their farm animals. I'm not talking about sex for those of you who are still on the old inventory guide. When I got clean, my first sponsor in Dallas called me. I was living in Baltimore, and I was about 6 years cleaner in 1986 or something. I'm really pretty brain dead, so if you can identify, just try to pay attention. He called me up and said, I want to pick you up. I want you to pick me up at the airport. I said, for what? He said, we're going to the wall. I said, we're going to what wall? He said, we're going to the Vietnam Memorial Wall. And Bob was a Vietnam vet too. And I said, no, I think you got that totally incorrect. You're going to the wall. He said, no, we're going to the wall. I said, I got no business going to the wall. He said, yeah, you do. I said, for what? He says, you got some amends to make. He says, and I think you need to get close to your higher power, and that's the only place you're going to do it. I said, well, you have a good time. He said, this is a we program, so we will have a good time. So I picked him up at the airport, and we drove to D.C., and I hadn't been to the wall because I was terrified of it. I was terrified of my feelings. I was terrified of my actions that I might have. I was afraid of going to jail for my actions and feelings that I might have. And so we got to the wall, and this guy came up to us with this big, thick green book. And he said, can I help you find somebody? And it had never dawned on me. I had looked for Ole ever since I got clean, to try to carry a message to him, to tell him about Narcotics Anonymous. And all of us, when he said that, I just gave him Ole's name, just out of the blue. And he went through his book and he said, is this your friend? And I said, yeah. And he took me over to the wall and took a piece of paper and scratched his name off the wall and handed it to me. And I fell to my knees and I started to cry. I had no idea that Ole came home in a bag. Bob took me over and I helped him scratch off his friend's name. And as we were leaving, there's some guys that have a tent for the POW and missing in action, and they stay there forever. And there was a little piece of paper you could sign with a little can you could throw some chump change in for donations. And I threw some change in it. He said, put your unit down on the paper, and I wrote down the 173rd, and just as I did that, he walked around from behind the table and he gave me a hug and he said, welcome home. I came back from Nam in '69 and I'd never heard that. I got home and I was trying to tell my wife, Mary, and I couldn't talk to her. I just kept crying. I got in the bathtub and ran some hot water and got in the tub, and I tried to call my mom long distance and couldn't talk to her. I just kept crying. In Baltimore, when we did the World Convention, my sponsor's also a Vietnam vet. He was with the same unit I was with. And at the World Convention, we got a bunch of addicts together who were still dealing with some of the insanity from their past. And we took them to the wall, and we took a video camera, and we helped them find the names of their buddies that they had lost, and took them over to the wall and helped them scratch it off, and then had them turn around to the camera and tell us something about their friend. Narcotics Anonymous is about getting real. Narcotics Anonymous is about digging on the inside for me. It's not about who's who. It's not about what you have. It's about what you give. It's about the newcomer who came to this gathering scared to death. It's about the old-timer that came to this gathering scared to death, not knowing if they're going to fit in or not one more time. I still go to meetings in my own area and have fear before I walk in. Am I going to fit? Do I fit today? Am I good enough? If you don't like people gossiping about you, there was a meeting about gossip, in case you missed it, during the basketball game. If you don't like people talking about you, I got a solution for you. Do not become a member of Narcotics Anonymous. Because Narcotics Anonymous, not Narcotics Anonymous won't talk about you, but the people in it will. I even will. I'll be honest. I'll talk about you to your face, behind your back. It don't matter. If I got something to say, I just say it. And I'm okay with that. Because I was taught when I come here, do you stand for something or you fall for anything? And I stand for what I believe in. I've been cussed out for it. I've been barred from speaking at meetings for it. I've been asked to leave meetings for it. I've asked, why don't you go back and use for it? I'm an addict. I live right in here. That's where the big hole is in my gut that I came in here with, that told me I didn't have a right to be here, that I'm not going to fit, that I'll never get clean. People in the rooms told me, you don't have a desire, you're still using. Who the hell can measure my desire? Nobody knows what another addict's desire is. Narcotics Anonymous doesn't say, if you want to come to this meeting, you have to be clean. All it says is the only requirement for membership is a desire to stop using. You can still be on the meth clinic. And you have a right to sit in a meeting of Narcotics Anonymous. You can have just fired some dope out in the parking lot or in the bathroom and still have a right to sit in that chair in Narcotics Anonymous. You could have just huffed some Tester's glue and you still have a right. When I go to a meeting, that's my seat. Ain't nobody taken it from me in 21 years. You're not going to take it today. I don't care if you like me, don't like me, think my wife's a jerk. I didn't say that. I don't think she is. How am I going to get out of that one? It don't matter. You don't have to have a higher power. You don't have to even have the right one. I go to meetings and people like to thank their higher power. I like to thank my higher power, who I choose to call. Oh, thanks. Stupid me, I got the wrong one again. Every time I hear that, I think to myself, have I got the right one? Maybe I better change again this week. Get the right one. Mine does suck. I hear people, I was at a meeting one night, and this girl and this guy run this meeting, and there was a picture on the wall of Jesus or somebody. I didn't want to say the right name because that would violate one of our traditions. And I was sitting there just staring at this picture, and I'm a weird kind of guy anyway, and some people were sharing in the meeting, and then they said, "Marty, would you like to share?" And I said, "Well, sure." I said, "I don't think they had cameras back then." I was just, you have a right to share what you're thinking in a meeting, and I did. And the next week I went back to that meeting, and this guy and this girl who owned that meeting said, "Tonight's topic is resentments and unity." And I said, "Well, that works hand in hand." And he said, "And I'd like to share first." "No, I'll let her share first." "Go ahead, honey." She said, "Well, last week I brought a newcomer to this meeting, and the newcomer happened to have 3 years in some other fellowship. And she said, somebody in this meeting made fun of God. And they also said the F word." Well, I kind of knew who they were talking about then. And she said, "It makes me mad as shit when people use the F word." I said, "I sure am glad you shared that. Now I can feel like I'm comfortable identifying. Because it makes me fucking mad when people say shit." They're just words, people. People come in here off of the streets. Off of the damn streets and out of jail with a boyfriend named Bubba. And they're going to worry about because somebody used profanity in a meeting of Narcotics Anonymous, the most Christianic spiritual activity on the universe. Get a grip. It ain't no big deal. I have never, somebody went relapsed and come back, and sponsor said, "Well, what happened?" Somebody said shit in the meeting. Well, give me a break. Well, let's kill them. Well, take them out and shoot them right now. They got no right to recover. I don't care what you say in a meeting. I don't care how many fellowships you go to. I don't care how many gods you got. I don't care how many therapists you got. I don't care how much you pay to see them. But I can say that for me, this is just for me, in my opinion, which I respect very much. There are all those who don't. I don't sleep with them, so I'm really not concerned. Once you get done with all your therapists and all your religions and all your other fellowships, your seat is still waiting in Narcotics Anonymous. You can still come back and work the steps just like we had to. I had a guy that works for me He wouldn't go to Narcotics Anonymous. He wanted to go to NAAA, CDA, CDA, and the church of his choice. And I said, well, I don't think it's going to be very beneficial. He said, well, whatever works for me. I said, how long you been doing this? 10 years. I said, how long you been clean? 2 days. I said, keep up the good work. I'm the jerk. Because I told him, why don't you find a home? Why don't you find one fellowship? I don't care which one it is. Sit down. Shut the hell up. Get a sponsor. Work the steps. And all up. If that all fails, I'll buy you some dope. I haven't seen it fail yet. I've seen us fail to do it, but I haven't seen Narcotics Anonymous fail. Never have I ever seen Narcotics Anonymous fail to work in anybody's life that participated in the 12 steps and 12 traditions of Narcotics Anonymous. I've never seen it fail. I have needed no other therapeutics than the therapeutic value of one addict helping another since I got clean. A lot of people have told me I needed other therapeutics. But I couldn't afford it. I lost my job twice. I was in a meeting one night and the guy said, I no longer have to run to the electric company to pay my electric bill. My electric's paid on time today because I'm a responsible member of Narcotics Anonymous. And I said, damn, check him out. I said, yo, when you lose your job, we'll still love you. Electric goes off, come over and borrow a candle, pal. I've lost more jobs using than I ever had clean. I mean, well, okay. And I'm still detoxing, and it's all right. I've had more jobs and lost more jobs clean than I ever hoped to have using. I held jobs better using. I had to cop. I had to have some money. I had to feed my kids so I didn't go to jail. I'm living with one of my ex-wives back in 1970, 71. And I'm totally messed up, and I'm throwing furniture out the bay window off of the second floor into the parking lot on cars. And somebody called the police. I don't think it would have been her. She's not that rude. And the cops come and he said, we got a problem here? And I said, no, officer, we're just moving. He said, you certainly are. I met my wife in Narcotics Anonymous. I was chair of the Chesapeake Potomac region. She was a literature chair. She looked at me, I winked at her, and she 13-stepped me. She did. She asked me to dance. And we did. And after we danced and got all hot and sweaty, we went and sat outside for a while. And then I said, why don't we go over here and talk where things are a little quieter and people aren't running back and forth? She said, where? I said, over there underneath that little bridge. She said, I don't have enough clean time to go over there. I said, well, you can borrow some of mine. She said, no, thank you. I'm looking for a quality clean time. She was raising 2 boys on her own. She had an ex-husband that was in jail who beat her towards recovery. Went to the school of OJ. But I don't judge. Just mere observation. I raised those 2 little boys who are now 19 and 22. They're both coming up on 2 years clean in Narcotics Anonymous. The only reason you laugh is because you didn't go through the hell of their addiction with them. That's why you're happy. They put us through more hell than I ever put my parents through. Almost. We have a 9-year-old son that's part of a blessing of Narcotics Anonymous. He's my best friend. He's my biggest pal. He's my hero. He brings papers home from school, and the parent has to sign it and put a little comment beside it. And I write horrible stuff in it. And I can remember the stuff my parents used to write. Call me if he messes up again. You know, stuff like that. And I write stuff in there like that. Isn't Marty a neat guy? Marty's my best friend. I can't wait till Marty gets home tonight. That's the kind of stuff I write. Because he's a great guy. He's reading these books called Goose Pimples or something. I don't know. And every week, it's Friday, Dad. Do we get a book? Can I get a book today? Can I get a book? Can I? Every week I buy him a book, every Friday. Saturday, can we get another one today? And his mom will say no, and I'll say, she says, you're going to spoil him. I said, yeah, but he'll be intelligent. At least he'll be able to read before he gets to Narcotics Anonymous. Unlike his father, who had to come here and learn how to quote because he couldn't read. My wife, I never smoked crack cocaine. Crack was a sexual term when I was using. I got clean in 1975 BC, before crack. She's the rock I never smoked. She gives me more support, more love, more compassion, more honesty, more caring than I think any man like me would ever deserve. We have a love between each other to something I thought could never happen in humanity itself. She doesn't work my program. You cannot work something that's not there. No. I don't work hers. I don't tell her what to do. I don't suggest to her what to do. She doesn't tell me what to do. She doesn't suggest it. We support each other. Period. We don't put each other down. We don't talk bad about each other. When we go to dances in Narcotics Anonymous, we dance with each other. We've already danced with all of you. We've already played that game. I don't have to build my ego up today. She don't have to screw with my insecurities. We don't need to do all that. When we go to dances together, that's because we want to go dance together. Period. We do everything together. Yes, we even go to the same meetings together. I hear people say, well, I got to go to a different meeting. My wife's going to that one. Wouldn't want her to know anything about me, you know. My wife knows all my defects of character. I have a sponsor in Narcotics Anonymous that has a sponsor in Narcotics Anonymous that has a sponsor in Narcotics Anonymous, and the list goes on. Every year we have a sponsorship weekend in December in Gainesville, Florida. Now that sponsorship tree, everybody that he sponsors and we sponsor and they sponsor, all get together for a weekend in Gainesville to do one thing, to get real and talk about sponsorship. After we play golf on Friday. We don't surf. We're not that tough. And it don't matter if you ever played golf. You want to stay clean, you play. So simple. Cowboy boots, it don't matter. You play. And we have a good time. And then we get to the meeting place, the campsite, about 5 o'clock. And we open up, we have dinner. And all the addicts gather together and cook this food you wouldn't believe a human being could eat. And we start our meetings. And our meetings are real simple. They're stuff about us. They're about what's in Narcotics Anonymous in our basic text. They're about dealing with our real feelings. They're about talking about our heroes. Talking about our feelings and our inadequacies. Talking about the love for our wives and our fellow men. About crying in front of other guys. About hugging other men. About gratitude. About a lot of love. I don't know if it's happened to you, but it's happened to me several times. You'll go to a meeting, you'll say something profound, and after the meeting you can see him coming from the other end of the room. Sure did like what you had to say during the meeting tonight. I said, yeah? Okie dokie. Could you give me a ride back to the three-quarter house? I got to be in by 10 or they're going to kick me out. And the nice thing about Narcotics Anonymous is you can think anything you want. You can think, look him dead in your eyes and say to yourself, up yours, pal. Screw off. See those jerks over there with the Kmart clothes? They don't have any of Mr. Bill's jewelry. They're not driving new cars. They don't have any credit cards yet. Get one of them schmucks to give you a ride. They're not doing nothing. See these guys over here? With all the SOS, the show-off shit? They're going out to Rosie's after the meeting. Talk about who they're going to nominate for RSR. And if I give your gimpy ass a ride home to the three-quarter way house, they might not nominate me. And you can look him dead in the eye and think every bit of it. As long as you say, sure, pal, I'll give you a ride. Our program talks about action. It doesn't talk about it has to be graceful, that you got to love every minute of it. I've had people shit in my car. That's not funny. Throw up all over me. Drop their needles and their dope all over my car. Pulled over by the cops. Well, I'm taking him to detox, officer. You're right. Going to a guy's house, trying to help him as he continues to tear the furniture to hell, try to beat his wife half to death. And honestly, I'd rather go pick up somebody on PCP that's drunk on alcohol. For me, they're much easier to deal with. Dealing with somebody with on PCP, yeah, it's a terrible looking plane getting ready to crash, ain't it, pal? Yeah, I dig it, man. It's cool. And then you get a drunk, and he grabs you. You care about me, don't you? You want to be my friend? And then he lets go. Don't look at me, I'll kill you. 1 minute, they want you to love them, then they want to kill you. I got picked up a guy one night, he was tearing up his house and getting ready to kill his wife, and I put him in the car, and we're driving down the road, and all of a sudden I'm doing 65 miles an hour, and my windshield blows out. Because he had put his fist through it. And I didn't flinch. I didn't do anything. Well, almost shit myself. And I just kept driving. And then a few minutes later, I just slammed on the brakes and pulled off the side of the road. So what's going on? What's going on? I said, "Get out, quick." He said, "Why?" I said, "There's a tree over there. Go hit it." He said, "For what?" I said, "Well, you're out of windshields." You get your ass back in the car. And I drove him around until he passed out, and then I took him home. Went back over his house the next morning at 6:30 and flipped him out of bed. I said, "Get up, we gotta go." He said, "Where are we going?" "Put a windshield in my car, don't be silly." He said, "For what?" I said, "It's part of the recovery process, pal." I stayed clean, he's still using. I have another friend that my wife and I drove 16 hours to a place we could finally take this guy to detox off of heroin because nobody would take him. We stopped in bars and back joints of restaurants that sold whiskey because he was in withdrawal, and we'd pour whiskey down his throat trying to help him through it till we could get him somewhere. And finally got him in the detox center. 3 weeks later, we drove another 8 hours with the same guy to another detox center. 6 weeks later, we drove another 4 hours to another detox center where he stayed 2 days. He stayed clean 6 months, then called me up again, went over to his house and helped him dump a pound of coke down the toilet. Took him to another detox center. Stayed clean 7 months, and then we buried him. This is a real disease we got. We talk about people, we make fun of them, we talk about their inventory, we put them down. "Oh, he's not good enough to do this. He's not good enough to do that. Well, did you hear what she did?" I haven't forgot where I came from. I ain't no better than any addict in this room at any given moment. I don't care if you just got here this morning. Clean time don't mean shit. Just means I've been here longer. It means I've experienced a little more in recovery, maybe. It means I've worked through some stuff that maybe you haven't worked through. But it doesn't mean that I'm immune to anything. It doesn't mean that I'm immune to getting messed up again. I hear people in the room say, and I want to throw up every time, "Well, I know I can't use again because I know if I do, I'll die." Well, whoop-de-doo. If I knew that if I used, I'd die, big deal. I've been here, done that. I'm not afraid of dying. I spent my whole life trying to die. I am not afraid to die. I would love to live. I want to see my grandkids. But if it's my time to go, okay. Using and dying doesn't scare me. Using, going to jail, getting a boyfriend named Bubba, terrifies me. That scares me. That's just really not real exciting to me at all. I stay clean today because I want to. You told me to keep coming to meetings until I wanted to. Now I want to, and I'm still coming to meetings. Narcotics Anonymous has got a lot of paradoxes in it. I hear you people say after meetings, "Stick with the winners." And then you read principles before personalities. Explain that to me. If it's principles before personalities, how can I pick out the winners? The winners are in these rooms. And it can't be judged on what you did last year. You may know something about me. You may know me. You may know me from 21 years ago. You may know me from 5 weeks ago. You may know me from yesterday. In that period of time, I've got up, I've talked to my higher power, I've worked on a step, I've talked to another addict, I've tried to go to a meeting, and I tried to work on me some. Maybe I've grown just a little bit. Maybe not enough for you, but maybe enough for my higher power to allow me to stick around another day. All of us think that we've got to impress somebody else sometimes with our recovery. Who have we got to appease to be nominated for the wonderful position of chairing a convention so people can talk about us? I'll be the hospitality chair so they can say the room sucked. I'll be the program chair so they can say the speaker sucked. I mean, I stand up here and I speak at a convention and I think to myself, okay, chill out now. Don't say anything that's going to upset anybody. And you think you did good, and then there's one that comes up every time. Oh, I didn't like what you said. God! I spoke in the Catskill Mountains of New York, and there was a bunch of guys out there. A couple of them I knew from Carolina. And this one guy named Bill. And they were all talking about Bill with 8 years clean screwing newcomers. Or this one particular newcomer. But Bill's convincing everybody that he was in love and it was okay. And then after we're out there sitting all day talking about it and joking, everybody said, don't forget to mention us from the podium. So I did. Mentioned the guys that I knew. It was good to see them. And I said, no, if you're new tonight, don't forget to see Bill after the meeting. And after I spoke, Bill was waiting outside for me. Who the hell are you to talk about me from the podium? What's the matter? Did I offend you? Did you offend me? Who the hell do you think you are, man, to talk about me like that from the podium? You don't know nothing about me. I said, yes, I do. He said, what do you know about me? I said, well, you're sensitive. I spoke in Philadelphia about 800 years ago at a convention, and after I was on a stage and I walked down off the stage when I was finished, and a guy come right up in my face before I ever got to my seat. Who the hell you think you were to say what you said from the podium? I turned around and I looked back at him. I said, oh, that was me. I was the speaker. Don't be silly. Are you upset that they didn't ask you to speak? Did you not write down what you wanted said? It's amazing how we want to hear what we want to hear. I can remember sitting in meetings, and when the speaker get up, I'd get my pen and pad out. And I wouldn't write down anything good he said. I'd just write down everything I didn't like, so I could share it with him so he could grow. And be more spiritual like me. We're a funny group of people. We like things our way. We like it on our timetable. And I found out that life doesn't work on my timetable. It works on my higher power's timetable at exactly the right time. I used to think this was some kind of dress rehearsal. It's the real McCoy. Nobody ever died from a lack of sleep working with a newcomer. I have never met anybody in Narcotics Anonymous that starved to death. I have eaten every day since I've been clean. I cannot say that when I was using. I have had a place to sleep every day I've been clean. I can't say that about my using. I have people that care about me. Not whether I live or die, but how I feel before I do. I got people that genuinely love me. I got people that call me from all over the United States just to tell me jokes. I'll go home at night after work, and my blinker will go on my answering machine, and I'll push it. And there'll be another joke about two firemen having sex in a smoke-filled room or something. All kinds of weird, happy things. I love recovery. I have a good time in recovery. I didn't come here to be miserable. I didn't come here to be important. I didn't come here to be a speaker. I came here to save my ass. Yours are goofballs that wanted me to speak. As far as I'm concerned, I ain't got shit to say. I'm just a dipshit dope fiend that ain't got a clue. I still ain't got a clue. I just keep showing up. You told me to keep coming back. I'm doing it. I don't know anything. The only thing I know how to do is fuck it up. That's it. Everything I touch turns to crap underneath my fingernails, and when I bite them, they taste bad, and I wonder why. It's because I can't arrange it. I can't make it happen. People say to me, why don't you change that about you? I can't. That's why we got the 7th step. I can't do that without my higher power. I said, when are you going to make amends to so-and-so? When I get to that step. If I do it before, then it don't work. And I'm not ready. If you're ready, do it for me. I know that Hawaii is a more laid-back, welcome, aloha. Oh, you used today? Too fucking bad. Keep coming back. We love you. Kill us. It's not like that where I live. It's hard for me to be glowing like y'all glow over here. Where I go to meetings, people urinate in the meeting. They don't care about the bathroom. They don't care if you get thrown out of the church because you're cussing. Oh, that same meeting I was talking about. They said we got to stop using profanity at this meeting, or this preacher is going to throw us out. And we've had this meeting for 2 years. Now let's talk about who's willing to quit using profanity in this meeting. We got to show some appreciation. We haven't had to pay rent for 2 years. Well, the we I'm talking about are both using today. I guess they cussed or something happened in their recovery and took them right back out. I have a son in Dallas that met us at the airport when we were changing planes with his fiance. And he only had like 15 minutes to see us, just to give us a hug. Just to say, I love you, Dad. This is your future daughter-in-law. And that in her stomach is your future grandson. I have a son that's 19 years old. It's just nothing but inspiration. The guy goes to more meetings and more meetings. Him and his girlfriend together. They both work hard. They go to meetings. Her parents don't accept the deal at all. They don't approve of it. Although they did it, it's much different now. You can't do it. My other son has been in and out of jail. He's got almost 2 years clean, out of jail, joined the National Guard, wants to be a ranger, a paratrooper, and a badass. My wife is going to Johns Hopkins School of Nursing, making the dean's list. She studies from the time she gets home until 1 o'clock in the morning, gets up at 5:30 in the morning, sponsors 6 different girls, flies to Atlanta last weekend for their sponsorship weekend, and still has time for sex. Every year. You people have given us the greatest marriage any addict could ever hope for. We have got everything that we've ever hoped and dreamed to have. We've got great friends. We've got great kids. We've got a great marriage. Shitty bank accounts. But as soon as it gets good enough, he may ask me to speak at a bigger meeting. If you're new tonight and you didn't get anything out of anything I've had to say, oh well, maybe I wasn't your messenger. If you're new tonight and nobody's told you they love you, take a look at your program. Ain't my fault. I had a bunch of people tell me they love me today. And I made them sign a list. If nobody's told you that they love you, maybe they don't know how. Maybe it's our job to reach out. I was standing around today trying to pick out newcomers, watching to see how many people I could tell that had some time were going over to them. I don't think the report was that good. And the reason being is, believe it or not, people with time are still afraid to reach out. We're still afraid of rejection. Maybe you don't want me reaching out to you. What if you don't like me? Then what do? We're funny people. We don't know how to deal with how we feel most of the time. And the only thing I know that I've been taught is to just keep trying. Everybody's scared of everybody else. Everybody has those feelings of less than, not as good as. I know I have them. And if you don't, I would like to touch you after the meeting. Sometimes I feel better than and less than all at the same time. But usually I just feel okay. Usually I just feel like I have a right. I fit. That's the usual for me. I walk in a meeting and I look for newcomers. I usually don't walk in a meeting looking for my old friends. They'll find me. But I usually look around the room to see if I can reach a newcomer because I know how desperate I was. I know how desperate I've been moving from city to city, needing that hug, needing that love, and needing that acceptance, needing that place to go to. I know I'll try to make this quick because I know we want to dance and get into a relationship. When Bob called and asked me to share, I answered the phone and he said, "This is not a joke." I said, "What's not a joke?" He said, "We'd like for you to come and speak in Hawaii." And then a few weeks later, he called me and said, "I don't know how to say this, but I really feel awkward saying this, but I guess the only way to say this is I've never had to do this before, but well, there's some controversy going on about you." I said, "Again?" Hopefully something new that I can remember. He said, "Well, it's something about somebody in Chicago or someplace you owe some money." I said, "Hell, I got a list. You want me to send it to you? Over $60,000 I owe out. I borrowed a lot of money. Haven't got to that ninth step yet." And I tell people when I speak, if I come to you and ask to borrow money, don't lend it to me. And I do, and then you do, and then you get pissed. Don't do it. You might not get it back for years. And it's not because I don't want to give it to you. I just spent it before I got to you. I just don't think sometimes. "Oh, Billy, I owe him $20. I forgot. I'll get him later." You know? They say don't lend money in Narcotics Anonymous. I'll give you my house. I don't care. I'll give you everything I got. It ain't important. The things I have aren't important. You need my shoes, you need my car, go wreck it. I might not get another one. I've got Ankle Express. I can get to where I need to go. All those financial things, the only thing that's important to make sure that my wife and kids got a roof over their head, and it's clean, and it's safe, and it's comfortable, and they're happy to walk in that door. And the transportation we have gets us where our higher power needs us to go. That's all that's really important. I've had new cars and I've had old cars. Right now I have a very old car. I can tell you I'd much rather have a new one. They won't lend me the money. They sent me a thing from Citibank. Tell us something about yourself. I sent a copy of my 4-step. I didn't get a credit card, but I was honest. I'll never get one. Who cares? I got friends that'll lend me money. And call me up and tell me how they hate me and how they're going to kill me. Then I see them a few months or a year later. Marty, it's so good to see you. You ain't got my money, do you? Of course not. If I had it, you would have already got it. I'm sorry. I told you. That's a defect of character I got. I love to spend money. Yours. It ain't right. But then I don't know if it's wrong. You keep doing it. I don't know who to blame sometimes. Sometimes I say, God, you're stupid. You know? My wife and I have detoxed so many addicts on our couch, helped people get jobs, and they say, my sponsor told me, I'll be your sponsor, but I'm not going to give you a place to live, I'm not going to give you a job, I'm not going to give you money, and I'm not going to feed you. He's fed me. He's given me a job. He's given me a place to live. And he's lent me money. He'll stop lying one day. We'll do anything we can for another addict. I know I do. I know my wife does. I know our kids do. I remember when my sponsor came in for us to go to the wall, and our son Jimmy was like 7 years old at the time, and Bob was sleeping on our couch, and Jimmy came downstairs and looked at him and said, good morning, who are you? Bob said, well, I'm Bob P. Who are you? He said, well, I'm Marty. Bob said, well, you're awful handsome. He said, thank you. You going to detox this morning? And Bob said, excuse me? And Bob had been clean 8 years longer than me, and he said, I don't think so. He says, why do you ask that? He said, well, normally most people that sleep on my mom and dad's couch go to detox the next day or someplace. If Narcotics Anonymous isn't working for you, don't quit 5 minutes before the miracle. The miracle's there waiting on you. Just when you're ready to give up and say, that's it, I ain't taking it no more, give it another 5 minutes. I remember I lived in Virginia Beach, and then when I was clean, like 6 years or something, I lived off of the Chesapeake Bay Bridge, the Chesapeake Bay, and down in Buckrow Beach. And you could see the Chesapeake Bay Bridge tunnel. And I lived right on the beach. And I had enough of you people in Narcotics Anonymous. I couldn't take any more of I was like you, I couldn't take any more of my defects of character. Couldn't take any more. And I was ready to end it. And I made a decision that I was going to swim to the Bay Bridge tunnel. And it was in December and like 20-some degrees outside. And I decided I would swim to the tunnel, and if God wanted me to live, I'd make it, and if he didn't, I'd die. And so I started walking out into the water. And when the water hit my nuts, I knew that he wanted me to live. And I haven't thought about suicide since. I was in the meeting, Illness and Recovery, today, and the only reason I'm sharing this is because I believe Narcotics Anonymous as a whole needs to hear it. Illness is real. It has nothing to do with what we want, how we want to feel, what we'd like to feel. It has something to do with the reality of life and life and death itself. And a lady shared something about a friend of hers in the rooms that had had several surgeries and they had to keep taking different types and more amounts of pain medication to deal with the pain. And if you haven't had pain in recovery and haven't had to take any type of medication to deal with the pain, don't be real quick to judge yet. Sooner or later, we all get something. Sooner or later, we all get older. And this person had to take medication to ease that pain, not to get high. Because when you're in physical pain of that type of pain, you do not get high. It's not about getting high. It becomes a point of survival. And the person ended up dying after a period of time. And the other person was in a meeting room in Narcotics Anonymous and overheard somebody say, "Yeah, you know so-and-so died. Yeah. Wow, too bad she couldn't have died clean." Who the fuck do we think we are sometimes? I know what pain is in recovery. I know what physical pain, I know what emotional pain is, and I know what physical pain is. And there have been points in my recovery where I had to take medication for pain. And I'm not talking Darvocet, and I'm not talking Motrin, I'm talking pain medication. If you have a problem in your recovery and that happens to you, don't seek out somebody who ain't got a clue. Seek out somebody who can share their experience, their strength, their hope, not their doubts, their fears, and their insecurities. Ain't none of us getting out of this thing alive. 100 years from now, we won't even know the difference. In actuality, this whole deal is really no big deal. All I have to, see, I used to think I had to live this program forever. And all I have to live it is today. All I have to do is get up in the morning, participate in my own recovery, to try to improve the quality of my spiritual being. Not a lot, just a little bit. And I've got a long way to go. I've still got a lot of doubts and I've still got a lot of fears. I still have a lot of unknowns. But I still have a hell of a lot of hope. And when I see you people and I see people like Tom and Larry who are still here after all the years they've been here, after all the inventories people have taken on them, after all the mistakes they've made. And making a mistake doesn't make you a mistake. It just simply means, damn it, you made a mistake. You don't have to use. You don't have to give up your seat in Narcotics Anonymous. You just go back and you sit down one more time and you hold on one more time. And you give it one more damn chance to work. And the days you don't think you're going to make it. And nobody cares about you. And you feel all alone. And you got 5 days or 50 damn years. You grab your ass and you take it to somebody that you think, with just a glimmer, gives a shit about you. Just for today, says we find somebody who we believe that cares about us and wants to help us in our recovery. Those are the kind of people I hang with. I don't hang with the people who want to put me down, knock me around, and talk about my mama. All right? I don't hang with those people. I don't do downers today, and I don't hang with downers today. It's that simple. If you want to be miserable, have fun. Go be miserable. If I run you out of the rooms, the drugs will run you back. I'm not that damn powerful. If I said something tonight that made somebody that was uncomfortable comfortable, I'm real grateful for that. If I said something that made somebody comfortable uncomfortable, I'm all right with that too. We never outgrow our need for change. I'm not perfect. I'm just an addict. I'm an addict that doesn't have all the answers because I'm not up to date on all the questions. I haven't yet met God. I believe I met what He's about, but I haven't met Him yet. And ain't none of you Him. You might be a little closer to Him at any given moment than I might be, and that's when I need to get closer to you. You might have something to offer me even if I don't like you. That's why I have to listen. And I go to meetings and I listen, and sometimes I don't really like that person. But you didn't tell me I had to like them. You just told me I had to listen. Everybody in Narcotics Anonymous has something of quality to share. Everybody. If nobody's giving you a hug today, give yourself one. Don't wait around. Nobody's told you they love you today, get your ass up, go look in the mirror and do it yourself. I do it. Sometimes I'm afraid nobody will. I need to love me real bad. That's real important for me to do that. It's real important for me to talk to my higher power every day. 5 times a day. 20 times a day. I don't know who the hell he is. I ain't got a name for him yet. I'm not that far along. I don't have the right one. I was in a meeting a few weeks ago and I shared and said, you can use an ashtray for a higher power. And the guy said, you can't use an inanimate object to be your higher power. You have to get the square deal. And I said, well, if yours doesn't work, you can borrow my ashtray. Get something. Just believe in something. But the right higher power for you, not if but when, will come along. Use somebody else's. Ask people. You see somebody that's happy and they're comfortable within themselves. You want to be like you see it in your mind that they are inside. Not what they have and what they're driving, who they're sleeping with, but how they carry themselves on the inside. Grab them after a meeting. Sit them down and ask them, how do you get there? How did you do that? Reach out. I am grateful to be a member of Narcotics Anonymous. Sometimes it's all I got. Sometimes it's my only hope. People have told me, you need to get a life, get away from that NA shit for a while. But I said, NA is life. I used to live, and I live to use. Today, I live to go to NA, and I go to NA to live. It's the same thing. A guy sent me a poem one time, and the poem said, did you waste the day or lose it, and was it well or poorly spent? And did you leave a ray of sunshine or a scar of discontent? And as you close your eyes in slumber, you think your higher power would say, you deserve another tomorrow by the message you carry today. I try to use that as my 10th step every night. I try to look at me, and sometimes it's not real comfortable. And I try to say, tomorrow I'm going to change that crap. I'm not going to do that tomorrow. And then tomorrow comes and all of a sudden I've done it and I didn't even know it happened. And I said, I wasn't going to do that. I said, well, I won't do it tomorrow. And I just have to keep practicing and participating. If nobody's told you that they love you, it's okay. You're still worth loving. I'm really grateful, not so much that I'm here. I'm grateful that you're here. You look really stupid talking to an empty room. I don't know if my message is the right message. Everybody's message isn't for everybody. But if I help my wife tonight, I'm grateful. If you're new, don't run away from this gathering without gathering some numbers and some names and some hugs. Grab some hugs before you get out of this room. Don't wait for somebody else to make it work for you. Make yourself fit in. Pretend like Narcotics Anonymous is the dope man and get all you can get. And it's okay to use. That's what you need to do. And it's okay to come back. It's also okay that if you feel like you're going to use, take a basic text. Melt that puppy down and spike that in your arm. That's one way of getting the message. Get a sponsor. Not 5 sponsors. Not 2 women, 1 man, and 2 I don't knows. Get a sponsor. One you can identify with. One that you think wants to help you in your recovery. If they say no, screw them. It ain't the one for you. And don't take it personal. Find one that works for you. And if you get one that ain't working for you, get another one. Tell them thank you for what you tried to do for me. Maybe I wasn't ready. And then later on, you can come back and thank him again for what you found out, what you didn't know that he gave you. I would like to thank you for being here tonight. Thank you for letting me share.